Joining us now, former Utah Congressman, Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz. Jason, it's great to have you on. Okay, you did a great column, we read it, about how the Justice Department Inspector General, he's Michael Horowitz, he's finding that Biden's Justice Department has gone really weak in prosecuting lawbreakers within the FBI and the DEA and other ranks of the DOJ. What's going on here?
Well, there's 110,000 employees at the Department of Justice, and inevitably somebody does something really, really stupid. At Bureau of Prisons, they tend to go after those people and prosecute them. But if you're in the DEA or the FBI, you just do not get prosecuted. And every 6 months, they give a report to Congress. I'm one of those geeks that actually reads it. And the latest one highlights again multiple allegations of malfeasance, of people breaking the law with special police powers, like engaging in commercial sex overseas and handing these pills to a foreign agent recommended for prosecution. And then they deny it. They don't do it. They don't prosecute their own. That's the problem, is that time and time and time again, when these people do get caught, they get recommended for prosecution, and it does not happen. And if you're an FBI agent or a DEA agent, you're going to get off scot-free.
Wait, so if you work for the right agency, it's sort of like anything goes? Is that what you're saying? That's pretty dangerous stuff.
That's the pattern. I defy the agency, the Department of Justice, to show us a pattern where they actually do prosecute these people. The latest one that really ticked me off was the case of Nasser, if you remember. He's the doctor that was accused of sexually assaulting over 100 women. We had USA Gymnastics come forward that Nasser got convicted for over 100 years in serving time. But here's the problem. There were 2 FBI agents that did hear about this case nearly 2 years prior and did not do the right thing. They didn't fill out the proper forms. They lied on those forms. And now, just in the last few days, the Department of Justice says, we're just going to let those people retire. They get their full benefits, and they're not going to be prosecuted.
It's pretty astounding. And so then you have that going on, Jason, right? And then you had the trial of Michael Sussman, the Hillary Clinton campaign lawyer. You had a D.C. jury effectively saying that lying to the FBI is no big deal. The 4 women said they could have spent their time more wisely than on this case. The judge told the jury, don't consider Sussman's text to the FBI when you're coming to their verdict, that, you know, that Sussman saying he's going to come on his own, not working on behalf of anyone when he was working for the Hillary Clinton campaign. Let's watch former DNI Ratcliffe on this. Watch this.
Our lawyer, Mark Elias, under oath, admitted, yeah, we paid Fusion GPS millions of dollars to create the now debunked Steele dossier, which served as the basis of the investigations into the Trump campaign for more than 4 years. So that's what John Durham's going to be focusing on going forward. And it's why I'm optimistic that not only will he be successful in some of the ongoing prosecutions, but can expand the indictments that he wants to bring, given the involvement of certain FBI officials in spreading a false narrative to the American people.
Jason, so that sounds like fraud charges or maybe conspiracy charges. What do you think?
I do. Look, John Ratcliffe is one of the most competent attorneys out there. He was the director of national intelligence. I served with him in Congress, and he has been read into this as well as far as anybody has. And he does know what he's talking about, a former federal prosecutor himself. So I think there is more to come. I think what Ratcliffe is foreshadowing is the right direction. I'm just glad that Durham tried to prosecute somebody. I wish they would have been convicted. But when you had 4 jurors who were donors to Hillary Clinton and one whose daughter plays on the same soccer team as Sussman, the person that was charged, it's pretty hard to get a fair hearing there in Washington, D.C. But I mean, at least they're actually going after him. But I do think within the ranks of the Department of Justice, that's the delay. That's what we're going to see. But these people should be charged. But I'm just telling you, Liz, there's pattern at the Department of Justice is to not do it. And that's what's wrong.
Jason Chaffetz, great stuff. Come back soon, okay? It's good to see you.